Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Stars of the Diamond. My name is Rhett, and today I'm going to feature a few of my favorite cards in my opinion, the greatest baseball player of all time, the man himself, Babe Ruth. And the three cards that I'm going to be featuring here today come from also one of my favorite sets of cards. And they're called the E121 American Caramel cards. And so these cards were made in 1921, and I have my album here with quite a few of them, so you can kind of see just what the players looked like. And these cards were made in 1921, and then a second set was made in 1922, and featured, in each set around 120 or so cards of the most current and best ball players in the country. And so you've got, Hall of Famers like Max Carey and Johnny Evers and Eddie Collins and quite a few others. And this is a set that I've been collecting for years and years and years. But obviously the most prized cards in this series are the Babe Ruth cards. And the Babe Ruth cards in this set have really, over the last few years, grown in popularity and value to the point that I would hate to try to have to buy some more of them today. And so, anyways, without further ado, we kind of have three examples of Babe Ruth here. And so this set was first issued in 1921. And this card here, and this one as well, I mean, they're the same pose, everything. One has quotations around his name and one does not, but obviously they feature the same card. Now, these two cards are two distinct cards on the checklist because of the variation in the name. And what distinguishes a 1921 E121 card from a 1922 example is the back. And if we flip the back over, this one has a little bit of staining, which accounts for the grade. So the grade is a 1 on this, but as you can kind of see, the overall card itself has way better eye appeal than what you would expect to have on a 1 card. Okay, and that is accounted for on the back. So this was in a scrapbook, and when the person took it out of the scrapbook, you can see for the most part there's a little bit of extra paper still applied to the back, and there's some staining from the words that were on that paper. I don't know if it's removable or not. It's not something that I am ever going to try to accomplish, but I just appreciate the fact that I was able to get a really nice eye appeal. A Babe Ruth that has the eye appeal of like a 3.5 to a 4 probably, but at the price, a price point that was much, much lower. So in my opinion, this is kind of the greatest value in the hobby is probably cards like this. Now this other card here, obviously is it looks like it's hand cut. This one actually has a blank back, and so it's from technically a different set. It's not part of the E121 American Caramel Company set. But anyways, and I'll kind of briefly touch on that as well. But so what tells a 1921 example from a 1922 is basically the verbiage at the top. It says this set consists of pictures of 80 of the leading all-star baseball stars. So if it says 80, that's 1921. In 1922, they changed that. So now instead of saying 80 at the top, it says 120. Obviously, there's a little bit of a typeset difference and everything here, but this one says 80, this one says 120. 1921, 1922. So here's two different examples of the Babe Ruth. Now, the 1921 version of the Babe Ruth card is infinitely higher demand than our 1922. It's kind of a weird picture. I'll kind of talk about that one a little bit in a second. But this picture of Babe Ruth, even though this card dates to 1921, this is a much earlier image of Ruth. And you can see, if you look really close, you can actually still see the words red and socks kind of going on there. So this is actually a picture of Babe Ruth back before going to the Yankees and was with the Red Sox. And the picture actually comes from the E135 set, which was made in 1917. And so it looks very similar. It was made by the Felix Mendelssohn Company. It was basically the producer of these cards, and they produced multiple different backs for different companies and everything. In 1921, American Caramel was sort of the 800-pound gorilla in this style card. In 1917, there was kind of two companies. There was the Collins McCarthy Company of San Francisco, and also Boston Store, department store, also produced these cards. But these cards have this distinct look to them in 1917, where they had cut away the background, and they have sort of this simulated grass, the background's cut away. So that style card is actually dated to 1917. And the 1917 examples will have sort of the serif font for the name, and they're numbered at the bottom. And they're on thinner stock as well. I'm not going to take this one out so you can see that. But these cards date to 1917, and so the Babe Ruth in this set has this exact same picture. And much, much more valuable card in 1917, but that's why this picture actually dates to before 1917. So it tends to be a very, very high demand card because it has such an early image of a young Babe Ruth. And I know a lot of people think of Ruth as sort of being this, comical, overweight guy being played by John Goodman or something like that. And that's silliness. He was, at the time that this picture was made, he was perhaps the best pitcher in all of baseball. And then his bat was so valuable, they just couldn't afford to not have him on the field every single day. So he made a switch, and the rest is history. So that kind of is the reason that, in my opinion, Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time. Because not only was could he hit more home runs than the entire Philadelphia Phillies team in a single season, but prior to becoming the greatest hitter of all time, he was in the question of who's the best pitcher in baseball right now. So great pitcher turned into an unbelievable hitter. So this picture dates to 1917, which makes it a lot more valuable and everything like that. But this is kind of one of my favorite items in my entire collection. I love this set, and obviously this is the center point of any American Caramel set. Now, like I said, that same company, Felix Mendelssohn, made these cards, and they made them basically as blanks. And an outfit could send away and say, hey, I want you to add my ad to the back. And so they did that. So there's different bread companies, candy companies, all different outfits across the country that were using, kind of this picture, but on the back you would have a different ad. But in addition to that, they also made some for people that maybe didn't have an ad ready or just wanted to insert a card. They didn't care about having their advertisement on back. They would actually just make them also with blank backs to be inserted, typically in candy or something like that. And this one you can see probably was inserted with candy. It's kind of got some stain or anything and stuff like that there. Some kind of a stain on the back. So certainly not a high grade example of this card, but any Babe Ruth card, picturing him with the Red Sox, is a high demand card. So in 1922, when they were coming out with the next year's set, I had the plans to make it a larger set, so they included 120 players in the set. And in that one, they actually produced 3 different, pictures of Babe Ruth. And one of those pictures is what I have here. And so they did away with the outdated picture of him with Boston, and now have him with New York. And so you get a couple cards. You have one where he's just standing there, another that's kind of a montage of different photos of Ruth. And, in my personal opinion, the picture of him just standing there is probably my favorite. And the other 2 are kind of number 2 and 3. This example is a little bit interesting. Obviously, we got Babe Ruth here. This one's graded at 2.5. It's actually a pretty nice card. Back's pretty clean. Probably pretty accurately graded, if not slightly harsh for the overall grade. But again, it has better eye appeal than a 2.5 probably typically has, which is right up my alley. But this example, for years, it was unknown what is going on in this picture. Obviously, Babe Ruth is holding a pigeon of some kind. And recently in RMY auctions, they had the original wire photo that this picture was taken from. And this gentleman standing next to Ruth here was a pigeon keeper. And so what they were doing is they were actually applying messages onto the pigeon, and they were going to be sending this pigeon across the city so that they could have the updates to the 1921 World Series, I think, being published. Obviously, they had the wire at that point, but this was just a publicity deal. And obviously, this is our cage that the bird came in. But kind of interesting to see what was going on in that picture, because I think for years there was a little bit of debate as to who was that guy, what's going on in this picture. It's just kind of a bizarre picture. So not necessarily Ruth's most popular card, but probably a card that's going to be seeing a fair amount of increase in price and everything like that moving forward. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to share. Obviously, Ruth is the big name in pre-World War II baseball cards, and his items just have really kind of exploded in value. They were probably always slightly undervalued, to be honest with you, because Ruth's popularity and fame transcends the sport of baseball in so many ways. You could go up to almost anybody in any part of the country, and they'll know who Babe Ruth is, whereas they may not know who someone like Ty Cobb or Honus Wagner or even a Mickey Mantle is, but they'll know who Babe Ruth is. And so probably good values, even still at their high prices now to get into some Ruth cards. But I just wanted to share kind of a couple of my absolute favorite ones. And one more thing, I think I meant to hit it. When these cards like this one have no back, they are no longer considered to be in the E121 category. Now, E, for those that don't know, just means early, and that means early candy and gum. And so that's what the E means. So later Gaudi cards and things like that are not part of the E series, they're part of the R, which is no longer early, it's recent. So recent gum and candy. And these were all based on Jefferson Burdick and the American Card Catalog, how he designated them. So E means early. So since this can't be proven to have come from candy, it's actually in a different category, and that's the W category, which is sort of a catch-all for everything that doesn't go into E cards or T cards, which are tobacco, or D cards, which are bakery, which doesn't really make much sense, but that's what they are. So anyways, so this card here is actually designated as a W575-1, because there's another set that's -2. So that's what this is. Still has quite a bit of value, and for the most part, what these cards are blank back versions of the E121 cards. Okay, and so people that are crazy like me, that we want to collect all of them in every single style with all the backs and everything like that. So the hunt's a forever, never-ending deal, but you can never have too many Babe Ruth cards. So anyways, I just kind of wanted to share my favorite Ruth cards with you. And as always, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below which is your favorite card. I have my preference. And, thanks for coming to Stars of the Diamond. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and like my videos. If there's ever a set that you would like me to feature, I probably am going to feature the E121 album that I kind of showed before. I'll break those down into different series and do multiple different videos on them. But if there's a particular set that you're like dying to learn more about, let me know. But yeah, also hit that notification bell. That lets you know when I upload new videos. So thanks for coming, everybody, and I hope you liked the video. And as always, happy collecting.